guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever in the world you're watching this from. Welcome to Tech Talk with Jay. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Zara Carbonell, and I will be moderating today's discussion. So here at Tech Talks with Jay, finance isn't the only thing that is going borderless, because we are too. In fact, this series is here to serve you with tech know-how from tech leaders and techpreneurs from all over the world. And of course, to cruise with you on this adventure, let me introduce you to the man of the hour. Ladies and gents, entrepreneur, speaker, and the Chief Finance Officer of Machnet, help me welcome Mr. Jay Dahal. Hi,
Hey
Jay.
G, how are
How are
you?
you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I just flew to Nepal for about 30 hours the other day, and then I'm a bit jet lagged, but hey, I'm so pumped to do this, just like every other day.
Today is actually extra exciting because we will be talking about fintech and Fittech and how that could possibly work together. And like you mentioned, we will be streaming this from 3 time zones, from Manila, Kathmandu, and Taipei, I believe. We'll get to our guest in a bit, but anywho, let's jump to it. So today's episode is entitled Where Worlds Collide, How Fintech and Fittech Are More Alike Than We Think. I personally am intrigued by today's episode because well, tech in general is something that I'm passionate about. Fintech is something that I'm learning about. Fitness in general is something that I'm always excited about. And on one hand, we see how tech elevates every industry, right? And on the other, it reveals how all industries are more intertwined than we think. So, up to my first question is, did you ever think that fintech and fittech could ever be put side by side, given that they're so different and dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I think the great questions. Ever since when Fitbit or Apple Watch kind of went mainstream, there is always a payment components out of it. So this is where if you put both of them aside, there's a lot of synergy in a fintech and fintech in general. I think both sector, as we know, they both use cutting edge technology to address traditional challenges that we face in the respective industry. Either it's managing finance or either it's staying fit. Being healthy, right? And then I think the biggest thing that we see in the recent days is about how both of these industry are more data driven, meaning how a personalized data cater in finance or in personal fitness that can cater for your own personal goal, because everything is and every person is different. And why the finance or fintech companies focus on user experience. Same thing with Fittech, where they focus on more of a user's goal and their behavior, and then an extra customize and hyper, I would say, personalize those services. So I think it is a lot. It's both of these things collide each other, and then how these both companies gamify their services to personalize in both sectors. I think that will help to improve either physical fitness or to stay financially stable, right? So I think there's a lot of things that collide each other. I would say on the flip side of both of that is in the data privacy and security. I know finances look for a similar fashion, and then fintech or fittech, how do the user data used, and how do you make sure that user data is protected, or the privacy is maintained on this both industries. So I think I see a lot of synergy there.
Yeah, and Fittech in general has been making noise all over the world, and clearly we have so much to learn, especially that a lot of brands made the apparel or gadgets, they are really jumping in and making sure, like you said, that they are elevating that experience for their users. Even watches have games in them now, just to make sure that, okay, you get a reward for every X milestone that you hit. Something that we are excited to unveil more of, which brings us to our special guest for today. Right, ladies and gents, our special guest used to work for Google for 8 years, from California and Tokyo. He started Fitscovery 2 years ago with over 400 gyms and trainers on their platform. And he is currently an ambassador for Under Armour in Southeast Asia. Everyone, let's welcome the founder of Fitscovery, Mr. Mike Jiang. Hi, Mike.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you so much for being on the show. We are excited to know more about Fitscovery, Fittech, and everything to do with tech and how worlds collide. Gosh, can you believe we are in 3 different time zones today? It really shows how borderless life is, how borderless life is. Oh
It
God.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jen. So clearly, today is all about tech, duh, and its benefits, challenges, and everything that it poses on every industry, right? And the most interesting part is that finance and fitness are both industries that you would say are a bit delicate to work around because people used to think that it wouldn't even be techable because of regulation, because fitness in general is something that people do face to face, and it's very critical, and yet it's 2023 and here we are talking about how it's already been done and it's still growing. So let's jump in. Okay, Mike, so this one is for you. For starters, why don't one, you tell us more about Fitscovery, and two, talk about the solution it brings, who you serve, and why this matters.
Sure, absolutely. So Fitscovery is creating a marketplace platform for fitness, and we help both the gyms as well as the consumers. So as a marketplace, we have to empower both sides. For the consumers, we help you find different types of gyms. We are a discovery platform to help find yoga studios, find gyms, find kickboxing studios, find running communities, all within your areas, making the discovery process for fitness a lot easier and a lot faster. For the gyms, the trainers, the yoga studios, we basically empower your business with our software. Everything from getting you more customers to helping you manage your business a lot easier and a lot quicker. Or basically putting your, I think my internet got cut off for a little bit. We basically put your business on steroids. We help you create your website, manage your customers, manage your schedule, manage your memberships, all on one platform. And we let you do this without using any code, without hiring developers, without using expensive resources. So in just a couple of hours, and with just a couple of hours, you can create your own website. You can schedule your classes. You can take online payments. You can manage your members all in one place.
That's so cool. And this is global already?
It's global already, correct. It's
Okay,
mostly in America, Philippines, Korea, but it operates globally.
Okay. And how did you come up with this idea? When did you actually think, okay, this is a problem and I think we can solve it with tech?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you even speak with a lot of fitness trainers, a lot of gyms, a lot of gyms, especially in Southeast Asia, where we originated, operate still very manually. They operate with Facebook pages, with Instagram sign-up forms, with Google Docs, with a lot of the DMs. So we used to run a fitness community. I used to host a fitness community called Sazao Fitness. I found how cumbersome it was to have to manually see, okay, how many people are coming to the classes? Did you pay Jay? Did you pay Zara? Did you pay Sarah? Did you pay Sam? Having to collect manual payments, seeing how many classes Zara has left, how many classes Steve has left, how many classes Jay has left. A lot of this is very manual. And so what we wanted to do is automate all of that onto Fitscovery.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And also that's so easy, especially Mike already knows, but I was also talking to Jay that since Steve is in the fitness industry and this is something that he also does, I can see how convenient that could be for trainers, for people who own fitness brands already. And the beauty of tech is, among others, that everything is possible. So before I get to the next question, Jay, why don't you jump in and quickly introduce what Machnet does? Because the next question for the both of you would be, how do you think you could make those two spheres collide? Given that they're also very different. But yes, maybe start with introducing what Machnet does first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the way you started earlier is how things are so borderless these days, right? I think the premise or genesis of Machnet kind of started back in, I would say, early 2018, where it was really difficult because of the really cumbersome process for sending money from US to global, because one, the incumbents are kind of predominantly consuming the market with hefty fees and stuff. And we wanted to kind of, level the playing field, giving any entrepreneurs or SMEs to start a P2P or B2B remittance business, meaning, say, for example, if a company based out of the US who has a huge user base wanted to start a diaspora-centric remittance, now they don't have to go through the hefty regulations. They don't have to go get licenses. They don't have to go integrate with every payment provider in the US. We kind of give them a la carte, everything in one place, so that they can go start integrating with our API and go live pretty quick in the matter of 8 weeks, or maybe even less if they have a kick-ass software developers, right? So I would say just put it in one liner. We enable companies to go global, go borderless, so that they don't have to do it by themselves, because we're connected to about more than 120 different countries now. So we started because we actually went through our own pain problem, because we're sending money, and we got kicked out by some regulator for no reasons, right? The banks keep de-risking a small business like us. So can we democratize this playing field, because there are a lot of opportunity that we can help small businesses to go out and do this. So I think we've been doing this for multiple years now. I feel like we're getting there. There's a lot of problems to be solved, and that just keeps us going every day.
Yeah. And one of the things Machnet is actually known for in its space is being able to add that remittance vertical as a product in brands or on platforms that felt too far away, such as I know there's a digital calendar that you've worked with. There are a few other wellness spots that you guys have integrated remittance into. Now I'm curious, where do you think Machnet comes in a solution like Fitscovery? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, interesting question. I think I can see there is a lot of cross-pollinations between these companies, because like Mike mentioned, this is truly a global company already. So, we try to let companies go global, but, Mike is already there. So I can think of, we always like to discuss about, what is the potential if, let's just say, Fitscovery and Machnet work together. How does that look like? And, the few things that I can think of pretty quickly is, can we connect the coaches and coachee from different parts of the world? And how do you do that? It's easy. You already built a marketplace, but the second and the most cumbersome process, how do you figure out a payment process? How do a coaches pay? How do a coachee get paid? And to make this seamless process, this is where Machnet comes in, because our core and our bread and butter is basically moving money from one part of the world to the different part of the world, whereby making sure that coaches and coachee get their fitness goal done, right? So I think that's one thing that we can think of pretty quickly. And second is we are also B2B marketplace, because there are a lot of companies that we empower, not just in the US, but all around the world. So we can probably cross-pollinate all of these companies within Mike's vertical and see if we can figure out a way to find coaches in different regions, and can we connect to them, and then seamlessly bringing payments in between, so that a guy in Philippines can get a coaching services in South Korea, or Vietnam, or Indonesia, or Latin here in Brazil or Mexico, and then all you have to do is just integrate the payment from those two different verticals, two different countries. And that's something that I can think of. And also I think the incentivizing healthy behavior, like giving them points, building a reward program that incentivizes discounts for financial product offered by either Mike's company or our partners, right? Can we bring in all those partners and incentivize those reward program on money movement that Machnet can enable in these two companies? So I think in general, I feel like truly taking companies global despite of their industry vertical, but I can think of the Fintech and Fittech can really cross-pollinate each other and then scale massively.
Right. I mean, Mike, you've already been doing this. I'm interested to know, how would you improve that idea? And I'm thinking not just with Fitscovery, obviously, but in general in Fittech or even health tech.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The idea of marketplaces is actually all just about making more money for your business. And when you have customers internationally, especially within fitness right now, as the online fitness coaching community grows larger and larger, we see many times where trainers from Philippines get customers from America, or customers from Korea searching for trainers from Japan, and as fitness becomes borderless, so too should payments. Definitely, international payments is one of the payments in general is actually one of the biggest attraction features, value proposition for a lot of the trainers, because in Philippines and Southeast Asia, a lot are still even going off of just cash payments. And even some of the gyms that we work with right now, before Fitscovery, they manage everything through cash. So automating everything through online payments definitely makes things a lot easier and lowers the barrier. for a lot of gyms.
The other thing is the existing ecosystem that I see and that I hear a lot is, using incumbents like PayPal or I don't know, Stripe payments or Payoneer payment and things like that. They're hefty. If you charge $20 per month for the coaching sessions or maybe whatever the amount is, you add those 10-15% fees and it add up every month. So this is where I think the payment solution provider that can provide a cost-effective manner, I think it can help definitely scale the borderless fitness. And that's where the borderless finance meet, I think.
Yeah. And I've also seen a bunch of trainers who have clients abroad, which works for them also, because sometimes what you need is someone who can do it virtually or provide a program for you, but the person you need to do that for you doesn't exist in your region, especially in farther flung areas in the Philippines, right? And if you have a very specific goal, I would say an example would be a friend of mine. She's competing for bodybuilding, and obviously the bodybuilding trainers in the Philippines aren't yet on the level that she needs to be on. And so she literally has to hire bodybuilding trainers in the US and work around that time zone, but they do it very manually. Like they do it via email. He sends a program, she sends a photo. Is this how you do this workout? And I think truly with Fitscovery, that process is like 10 times faster. And at least I only have to go to one platform versus did I check my chat platform? Did I check my inbox? Did I check my SMS? Is there something new in another platform? And then I'll pay my coach this way. That's cool.
So you need to talk with Mike immediately.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll hook you up. All right. So both of you have seen the digital ecosystem for a bunch of countries. Korea, Philippines, USA, Nepal, South Africa, Taiwan, to name a few. So my question would be, given that there are a lot of things that we can create in our minds and also, on tech, what would you say is the biggest challenge when it comes to adoption for some of these countries?
Yeah, so I think the improving the idea of collaborating between the fintech and then fitness technology across entire industry, not just gym in general, but I would say healthcare and IT and things like that. I think we probably need to take a comprehensive approach because right now I'm in Nepal today, and you can think of if you try to sell something that is based out of US, it's not going to work here. Period. It's going to be really really hard to scale. So I think the biggest thing is can we localize the services that is needed and actually can be tailored for the people of Nepal. But if you take same thing to Vietnam or Philippines or Korea, I think the content matters, like the culture matters, the linguistic matters, right? Those type of things that probably needs to be kind of brought in to that localized places. That way you can kind of scale. The other thing that I can think of is, can you also collaborate with the local partners here? Forging partnership with the healthcare provider or insurance companies or gyms or wellness center and things like that. It can not just increase the viability, but also credibility in the services in general. I think the other thing is probably just creating awareness in people about health, gym, fitness, and just the hygiene. Probably it will definitely help to collaborate in these areas for adoption.
What are your two cents?
Love to see what.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, you mean?
Yeah, I think I definitely mirror the sentiment about localization. That's definitely something we need to do when we expand it across different countries. But I think the biggest thing for us, anyways, is about community. It's getting the ball rolling, getting the first couple of customers trusting you, because usually our biggest competitors aren't other companies that do the same. Our biggest competitors are more of just how to break the status quo of changing consumers' mind to do things through tech versus doing things manually. In both of our industries, there's still a very traditional mindset of just doing things the old-fashioned way. Doing it like I can just collect cash. Why not just do it? I can just put everything through a notebook. Why not just do it? I can just message my customers through my phone and send a text message. Why can't I just do it this way? The idea of having to think several steps ahead and think about how everything automates that's a hard thing for many people to think through, because that's about thinking about like a big business, thinking about large deals and automating large deals. Oftentimes people think about one-on-one situations. Oh, I just have this thing to collect. Why don't I just collect this money casually? Oh, I just have this one customer. Why don't I just sign them up manually? So our biggest problem is actually not competing against any other competitors, because there's actually not too many competitors in our field, but more of how do we compete against manual work?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And I mean, how do you compete against manual work, especially in Southeast Asia, where culture is a big factor,
Yeah.
and people hold on to dear life, I feel,
Yeah.
to kind of change their mind. The titas, how do you say, it's actually so much easier if you just go through this one time, a bit complex at the beginning. Actually, it's not
Yeah.
so much if you're the end user, actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it, but it's still complex for them because it's out of, instead of me just doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years
Yeah.
and take 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to do this for 2 hours, but it's a one-time big time thing. So how do you get past that, and which countries do you think are ripe enough to absorb this new and imagined innovation that we had spoken about just earlier?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think to be honest, it's hard to change someone's mind. That was what we tried to do at the very beginning. It didn't really work out. So it honestly comes down to good targeting. If you try to convince people to do things your way, it takes an arm and a leg. It takes hours, and even if they're willing to try, they have their old habits. But with good targeting and finding people who actually have the problem, who actually have the pain, who are actually looking for a solution, finding people who are looking for solutions to their own problem versus trying to convince people, hey, it's a lot easier to do these things this way, is a much better way to go. So good targeting, finding people who have this problem. For us, finding gyms that have a cumbersome sign-up process, doing good lead generation, that's how we solve the problem. And it's still tough. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one thing I would add on Mike's point is, I think sometimes, with the tech, what we think is, if you're in South Korea or, in a very modernized countries like in the US, for example, we think that everything is really possible and simple. But you come to Nepal, it's still, if you think about Uber, everything is integrated and payment. You don't even have to talk with the person, right? But if you come here in Nepal and try to, there is no Uber here, but there is something else called Patao, where you actually hand in cash after you are done with your ride. You gotta meet where your user is, right? You can't really bring a tech like kick-ass technology and then tell them like, let's just use it. You meet where your user is and kind of adopt and educate, and then target, like Mike said, and then kind of educate people to kind of continue that journey on technological innovations. I think so. I think that's, and also a lot of companies or a lot of people are not technologically savvy like we are. I guess the Gen Z is different than we are already, right? So we gotta meet where people are. So we can solve these biggest challenges and adoptions, I think, in general.
Speaking of technology, and you guys have been everywhere for tech. What are the coolest things that you've seen in the countries that you've been exposed to when it comes to tech, that you kind of think to yourself, it would be so cool if we could have the same process and kind of universalize it? Like, is there anything amazing or fascinating in Korea or in Taiwan or in the US, that could be something? It would be so much fun if every country in the world actually had this.
I mean, there's a lot of things. There's one of the things I loved about Google was that as long as there are problems, there are opportunities for businesses and opportunities to there are opportunities, and there are endless problems in the world. And if you are smart enough, you can find the opportunities to solve those problems. Right? A lot of the problems in the Philippines have been already solved by the U.S. A lot of the problems in Korea have been solved in Japan. A lot of the problems in Japan have been solved by China. There's a lot of there are many companies who just take technologies from one country and bring it to another. So the possibilities are endless, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different, Mike, in Nepal. So I can provide you some interesting nuances here, because Nepal is still a very landlocked country. technologically, I think we have kind of leapfrogged in the last few years already. The economy is still a bit challenging, but there's a lot of opportunity in different sectors like fintech, fitness, or healthcare, insurance, and things like that, right? In general, but I think the biggest thing, like you mentioned, is, and if there's a problem in the US, definitely there's some problem in Nepal. So can we copy paste? And I'm a big fan of this kind of stuff. Like you can copy what you do there, bring it in here, and paste it. Don't do anything else, and then try to see if you can use it. But again, you gotta localize that, like we said earlier, and then meet where the customer's need is, right? So over the past few years, Nepal has gone through a huge digital transformation. So the fintech landscape has definitely scaled massively. There are like a lot of wallet providers here. There are a lot of online banking, because maybe like 6-7 years ago, the online banking didn't even exist. I mean, there's a lot of, like, half of the population still has to go to bank to do so many things. And you think this is probably like, are you serious? And I'm not. I'm actually like, if you have to change certain things, you still have to go to bank, versus in the US, it's all digital banking now. We're still adopting digital banking nuances here in Nepal. That's one thing. Health and fitness culture is evolving. There's a lot of gyms, and I saw somebody just brought in a gold gym from US to here. So this is, they're copying, pasting certain things in Nepal, and actually, it's expanding now. I think the interesting thing for Mike is in the health and fitness culture in Nepal, because of the diverse topography of Nepal, like you have the mountains, and then Himalayas, and then Tarai, which is like a plain areas. I think this has a big outdoor opportunity where people can wear their fitness gears and stuff, and kind of track how they do on different regions and things like that. So I think there's a huge opportunity, but at the same time, what work in the West might not work here, but you gotta kind of localize that for the people for use case here.
Speaking of localizing things and adoption across borders, Korea and US are both known as digital hubs. Mike, what do you think the US can learn from the tech industry in Korea? And I guess for Jay, it would be the other way around.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, in Korea, there's a lot of government programs. There's so much government support. And this is like free money, free grant money. The reason we came to Korea in the first place is because we were given government money. They basically pay you every single month to work on your project. They help you localize your product. They help you set up your company. They give you a special visa, and this is all under government support. So everything's just done really quickly. The visa that I got in Korea, normally it'll take 2 years, and normally you have to have a company that's worth $2 million. They streamlined all of that to be done within like 2 months. Setting up a Korean bank account, setting up a Korean corporations, localizing our services to Korea. They helped us hire people. Not hire. They gave us people. They paid the employees for us, and they even paid our salaries for the last 1 year. So the Korean government gives so much support to startups here. It's actually like pretty insane. Honestly, if I spoke Korean, I would probably just keep making startups in Korea. The difficulty is more just that I don't speak Korean. It's more of a life thing, but.
I think you can find answers right there in Mike's responses, Zara, because what US can learn is it's a broken immigration system that we have. It takes years. Like years. I'm not even talking about months here to get something to get here, and then start something. I mean, you can get a visa and stuff, but the wait time just has been like mind-boggling these days. And then grants. I mean, you do get some grants, but that takes forever to get it. So the US it's a place for innovations and things like that, but there's a lot of broken infrastructure that needs to be fixed. For example, I know I've heard, maybe Mike can vouch here, but the internet infrastructure is still we're still are not that fast enough, and I hear a lot of the time that South Korea, how better the infrastructure is in terms of just an internet in general. And then another biggest thing is about just the mobile payment adoptions. US is still lagging in terms of payments because people still use cards, people still have to carry cash and things like that, whereby I hear now and then again that Korea has kind of leapfrogged that away from that, and mobile payment is kind of like penetrating like massively there. So there's a lot of things that we can learn, I think. Broken immigration systems, building internet infrastructure similar to what Korea has been doing, and then also mobile payment probably is the biggest thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, and I mean, what I did learn about Korea is that they've centralized so much of their tech that even chat platforms allow you to do digital banking. It allows you to do whatever social stuff that you wanted to do. It allows you to book places and this is all in one app. So you go to your chat platform and then you do everything in there. That's insane. But also it's become the go-to of Koreans because they've already garnered the trust of the citizens. So it would be cool to have just one platform that does everything, because it's partnered with everyone as well. So that's something that I do want to see happen.
I know Alipay, WePay, WeChat, something like that. I think that it doesn't exist in US at all, you know, because people have to go to multiple different platforms to do a lot of things like, you know, payments or banking or booking tickets and things like that. I think that's what Elon was trying to do with the Twitter eventually, like social plus payments and things like that. We'll see, you know, maybe we'll see that someday.
Okay. I have last two questions. The first one is for Mike. So earlier we heard how Jay felt like you could add value to Fitscovery or platform solutions like Fitscovery, right? Now I want to know, Mike, what do you think your industry, like how do you think you can add value to the fintech industry this time?
How fitness adds value to the fintech industry? That's a pretty hard question, to be honest. I mean, I don't think actually there's actually that much direct. There's that much direct benefits between where fitness can add value to fintech, but more of like fintech is an overall broad how to make payments. I mean, our software does simply just a lot of management that can be crossed over to beyond fitness. But yeah, I don't think Fittech actually. It just provides an additional sector for which fintech can operate a customer base.
Right.
Yeah, I think probably just something in my mind is basically like, can we increase the TAM of the digital adoptions via payments? I think that's in general probably it's just the indirect impact. But as we go global, the payments that were done in cash now going to go on digital adoptions by people. So maybe it will increase the addressable market there. You know,
and even user experience, I think that's one thing that I mean, fintech, it's one thing that everyone's prioritizing because obviously for something very fun, people are trying to make it extra exciting all the time. There are a lot of digital banks, there are a lot of players in the fintech industry that are trying to cross with different industries just to kind of bring more people in, try to convince them through another route that, hey, fintech is actually super convenient. It's good to do this. I recently went into an NFT event that was hosted by a big fintech company here in the Philippines, and their number one hero was an art app. I was like, how is this possible? But it did really well. So I think in the light of how Fittech or Fitscovery could help, imagine being able to bring that avenue of, okay, I'm going to make your fintech brand or your fintech platform extra interactive or engaging for clients. That would be cool. Okay, next question for the both of you is, so tech is a growing space every day, and that's true for both industries. Where do you see your respective industry headed in the next 5 years, or specifically even your platform, right? What is the plan for the next 5 years? Jay, would you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I think the buzzword these days in Silicon Valley is just the can AI drive personalizations to people when in terms of working with fintech or Fittech in general, so that using this artificial intelligence and machine learning to enable more personalized financial services. Using algorithm to analyze behaviors, personalize the service recommendations for people like me. I might be different than you, G, or Mike, or me, someone who doesn't work out much. Maybe it can get personalized the way my daily habit fits, right? Using that data-driven approach. And I think the biggest thing is I can see a lot of regulatory oversight on this kind of stuff about enhanced security and privacy in general, because now you're actually getting into person habits. What happens if there is a cyber attack or data breach and things like that. So I think there's a lot of regulations probably come around when the AI adoptions happens in fintech and Fittech in general. That's something that we'll probably see in the next few years. And I think the biggest thing is about just the inclusion. People will be probably doing both finances and fitness in general together in upcoming years because of IoTs and things like that. So that's a few things that I can think of in longer term that we'll see evolving in these both sectors.
That's an interesting point. How about you, Mike?
I see all of Fittech kind of going within 3 categories. Every single company within Fittech, or actually even fitness in general, are either number one into information, as in like what kind of workouts to do, teaching customers what kind of workouts to do. Number 2, community, connecting them with trainers, connecting them with the right fitness group, or even Peloton online communities. Or number 3, offline equipment. So these would be the actual gym itself. Basically, all fitness businesses as a whole fall within these 3 categories. Within information, definitely with the next 5 years, information distribution is going to be like super easy. You can enter in your weight, your goals, blah blah blah, and they will. And there are already many apps out there that can give you full fitness programs based on what you're looking for. Community, I think this is also going to be built a lot better. Peloton's already doing it very well. Mirror's already doing it very well. Where they connect you with right now a lot is connecting with people online, but also how do we make like fitness communities run a lot easier? How do we make things like Suns Out Fitness or Garmin Run Club or Hoka Run Club or whatever operate a lot easier? Adding an online component to the offline workout. And then lastly, it's also about equipment. I see a lot of advanced equipments. Like right now, of course, there's the traditional weights, dumbbells, kettlebells, everything, but there are a lot of equipment that's coming out that's making fitness a lot easier and a lot more tailored towards your individual needs.
Right. So personalization is key everywhere. I love it. Any last words?
I have one thing to get Mike's thought on this one, because I have a friend who is a university professor in the University of Silicon Valley, and then he keeps talking about the way AR, VR is going to change the way we live. Because I mean, I don't understand a lot of these things about immersive, I think, workout experience. That's what he talked about. And what do you think this is headed towards in future? I just wanted to get your thought on that, actually.
Yeah, I actually think I'm actually like personally, when it comes to personal investments, I put of investment into gaming, crypto gaming, advanced gaming, VR gaming, because I maybe not 5 years, but maybe like 10, 15 years, I see gaming just absolutely taking over. There's no reason why there's no reason why like all sports can be played on VR once it becomes good enough. You can do everything minus the risk of injuries.
That's right.
Once it becomes good enough. And when it comes to fitness, I honestly see video game fitness taking over as well. Like, why lift weights when you can battle a monster, when you can slay a dragon? Why run on a treadmill when you can run in the Himalayas by just putting on your VR goggles, right? Once the technology becomes good enough, there's no reason to want to like run on these crappy streets when you can run literally on the beach. So personally, I am a big fan of VR video games, and I see video games going into the realms of fitness, like honestly, even taking over like personal trainers, taking over gyms, because I'd rather train with like Zelda rather than like train with with Mario or whatever.
Well, that would be fine.
So I think the AI personalization and an AR VR is probably there.
It's trying everything. Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think a few players have tried that. I think right now it's just an app. I'm not sure about the VR part, but you can choose your route, you can choose which country you want to be in, and you can choose the scene also. And you're gonna say, okay, I'm doing a 5K run. But I think right now it's just putting it on a big screen. I'm not quite sure.
Right now it's like a big screen TV where you don't want to watch a TV, right? You want to get a good experience. But with AR, VR, you can like in time you'll be able to fully immerse in a place.
Right.
Maybe Korean government can probably give you a grant to build this, Mike, someday.
That's
That's beyond my specialization.
Oh my God, what an interesting conversation. Thank you, you guys, for today and for jumping into Tech Talks with Jay. But before we say goodbye, can we take an official photo so that we will remember this moment? Okay, Agatha is backstage. Everyone smile. Three, everyone good? 3, 2, 1. Okay, safety shot. 3, 2, 1, and smile. There you go. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
We learned
Mike.
so many things. My gosh, all the possibilities of tech. Thanks, Jay and Mike. Ladies and gents, let's give it up once again for the founder of Fitscovery, Mr. Mike Jiang.
Thanks,
So much.
everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Have a good day.
Have a great day, Mike. Wow. Okay, that was interesting. I mean, I knew that this episode was going to be a fun one, but I actually
Yeah.
reimagined Fittech, and I
Yeah.
do see how it works.
If you think about it, AR VR is going to take off in immersive technology that one of my friends like he's like so deep into. He always talked about it. He asked me to
Right.
come to university. He's a little older than me, but now I think about it, what Mike talks about, and then tomorrow, if you want to, hey, I'm gonna go and then run on Egypt, and then you just put on the
Right.
goggles and you start running,
Right.
and
And
you go
also,
to like hike or something,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially so Steve and I had this conversation, and obviously your plan is to be able to exit your physical presence in that company at some point, right? And
Yeah.
imagine if one of the hurdles that you come up with as a trainer is, okay, people, number one, sign up for your programs because of you. So they want to train only with Steve Neer, right? That's one side of it. But the second half is, what about the clients who want to sign up but want to be taught by a different person? But imagine if you can
Yeah.
actually create the coach that will teach you. Like, okay, what if I want Thor to teach me or something?
Exactly. Yeah.
I want
Exactly.
Ragnar Lothbrok to be my coach or something. So imagine
Exactly.
if that could be possible and you just have that fitness genius behind it to create the plans for you, and kind of simulate that experience and say that, okay, here are the things that you need to do. Here's how to inspire you. Okay, where do you want to go? Kattegat? Okay, you can do your I've watched too much Valhalla and Vikings, but
Yeah.
you can do your workout in the middle of the ocean if you wanted to do that on a boat. So that would be
Exactly.
so fun. Oh gosh.
It'll be cool.
Yeah. You know, Ladies and gents, to everyone watching this, we are curious to know what insights you've picked up from this episode. So do leave them in the comments section below. If you have questions for Jay, just drop them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer those as well. And we do have an ebook that we are sending out there. So if you want to know more about fundraising, you can just scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and it's
Yeah.
going to lead you directly to it. And of course, if you have more questions, again, all you have to do is send us an email, drop a comment in the comment section. We're happy to address that. Jay, we will be taking on our third episode very soon. And this one will be talking about the role of tech to develop nations. So with Rebecca, we've talked about how it contributes to the economy and now how it interacts with end users. And our third episode will be to figure out how tech actually develops nations. And this one we will be joined by Zachariah, right? And he's going to be hailing all the way from Bangladesh. We'll get to know more about him in the next episode. Another one coming your way. So stay tuned, everyone. And of course, to officially wrap things up, thank you so much for being here till the very end. This has been your moderator, Zara Carbonell, and
this is TikTok with Jay the Hall. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Z. Bye.